Hey everybody, happy Homebrew Wednesday. It's Brad here at Wild Boys Brewery, Pook NC. What I got going on today is just doing a little bit of cleaning on some stuff, breaking out my keg washer and washing out some demijohns, growlers, whatever you want to call them. You can use it for those too. You just kind of have to stand there and hold it instead of it just sitting down. Doing 2-minute PBW rinse with those, and because I've got them, I usually rinse them out real good when they empty out anyway, so just want to rinse them out with the PBW real good, and then I will rinse them out a couple times with hot water and then sanitize them, stick them on a cardboard dryer, let them sit for a day or whatever it takes for them to dry out, and then put the caps on them. And then when something sexy new craft beer comes along at one of my local bottle shops, because we started doing growler fills here in North Carolina, just grab one, head on down there and get it filled up, no fuss. Today I am enjoying one of my Puka's Pale Ales. This thing's come along real nice. It's I used the 1272 on this one instead of the English ale yeast like I did last time when I made it for my coworker. Totally changed the beer. It's got a really fantastic pineapple nose on it, and just a slight little bit of malt backbone. It's a pale, it's not an IPA. Drinks real nice. I can't remember, it's like around 50 something IBUs or something like that, or maybe even less than that, 40 something, 50 something. Also, I'm racking my chocolate stout over into the keg today and kegging it up. I'm going to put it on some gas. I'll show you some footage of that here in a little bit. I was actually cleaning up my Puka's, or my Intergalactic IPA emptied out a couple weeks ago, and I've just left the keg in the freezer because it's something that the metal absorbs heat, and it keeps the fuller your freezer is, the less it runs. So even though there's nothing in the keg, that'll still keep it helping from running much. And wanted to wait till I had enough stuff to actually fool with getting the keg washer out to wash it. So I'll wash that keg, and then I'll transfer the stout into one of the kegs. I've got two of them clean after I clean that one, and then I'll be able to just reuse the cleaning solution again and clean that carboy out. So I'll show you a little bit of that. This keg washer is awesome. It's the Marks II keg washer. It's got a bunch of different little attachments to it. So I actually made one myself so I can clean out the poppet posts on my kegs. It comes with one end. Let me just grab it and I'll show you here. Yeah, let's see. This is the end that comes on it, and it's got a barb on it, and that basically affixes to the top of your pump output. And then you just run a hose off that barb, and you can just run it to either a gas, or excuse me, this is a gas and then that's the liquid. But what I did was I just run it to a T, and I tried using them both hooked up together, and you can see it's just one hose. But the pump doesn't have enough output to push the liquid through both of them together, because the gas post is like this long, and then the dip tube is like all the way to the bottom of the keg. So there's too much resistance on the dip tube for it to push it all the way through. So what I do is basically I hook up the liquid side and let it run for about 10 or 15 minutes on that side. And then I just unhook this one and hook that one up, because the liquid will just go up so far into there when it's unhooked and then stop. And then run it for about 5 minutes on the gas dip tube side, because it's just a little short thing. And then that can clean your posts out without having to take them apart, or you can clean them several times without having to take them apart. Then it also comes with a couple of other little elbows that screw into the top of the keg that don't have, they're basically like that, except for with that one you can put this one's got threads in the top of it instead of being an elbow, so you can put your post that goes up inside your carboy, and then your kegs will be flushing the keg out, and then you can flush your poppets out at the same time, your keg post. On these, these attachments are for flushing out transfer lines, for like the line you hook on your auto siphon. And then there's two different sizes. I think a 3/8 and a quarter, or something like that, or 3/16 and 5/16. I can't remember which one it is. And then that's the little attachments that come with it. So you can also use your keg washer to clean out your transfer lines, because you can only get them so clean flushing them out with water running from your spigot. But you know, I've done that before and it works okay. It's better than doing nothing. But that way you can actually get a little bit of a pressure wash going through it, and then you're washing it out with your cleaner and not wasting it. It's not going down the drain while you're flushing it. You're just recycling it back through there. Nice drinking beer. So I'm going to change. Right now I've just got the post hooked up that comes up out of there, and I'm going to change it and put this one on there so I can go ahead and clean that keg. And then once I get that hooked up, I'll bring it back and show you. You can see I've got the top of the keg off here. I rinsed it out with some warm water, and then I've got this thing hooked up. Basically, the only thing is that's a little bit of a pain in the ass is you got to take this collar off once you if you've already got it flushed out like I did it today. I did the growlers first. You can see I got 4 of them there. You just have to take this little collar off, which just has little snaps that hold it in place, which is not that big of a deal, but you get PBW on your hands, which is like, excuse me, which is slick. You can see I've got the door of the keg, the lid sitting in there soaking, so that'll clean the caps from the growlers. And then I've also got a bubbler in there, because I'm going to pull the blow-off tube off of my heady topper clone and just stick that one on there, because it's just about to quit bubbling, so there's no need for the blow-off tube. And then I was using that growler, the 1 gallon one, as a bubbler, you know, a remote. Basically that was the trap, so I wanted to go ahead and clean that while I had all these other stuff out. And then you can see the collar is screwed into the top of the pump, and then the shaft is screwed into the top of that, so then you got your output coming off of here for your poppet valves. So basically the easiest way to do this that I found is you do see, I do the beer side first, so that's going to be my out right here. You just hook this up, so that's hooked up, and then I'll just sit the keg on top of that thing, turn it on for 15 minutes, then turn it off, and then put the gas side on and run it for another 5 minutes, and then the keg is clean because it flushes through the poppets and gets them clean too. And then I take the wipe the poppets off before I start doing it, and then after I clean it I'll sanitize it, and then I'll just take a little bit of keg lube and run around the seals, so make sure you keep everything good and lubricated and rocking and roll. So I'm gonna need both hands to put this thing on here, and then I'll sit you down and I'll be right back once I got this thing on here and running. As you can see, I've already dirtied this up a little bit. Apparently I should have dumped that last little bit of liquid, because apparently some crap had got up in the dip tube and then ran back down. Not a big deal. I don't really use the PBW over, except for like the whatever I'm cleaning that day. Then I toss it if it gets dirty like that. But you can see it's running and draining back down in there. You can see, let me give you a good shot. You can see the liquid in the foam running through the poppet. Well, not through the poppet, but through the hose here. Comes off here. And then you can see right here off to the tee, basically it's only going to go so far up in there, and then that's an air bubble holding that off, so it stops it, and then it just forces it through the tee up on this side. So we'll let that run for 15 minutes. And then that'll be it. We'll unhook that side, hook the gas side up, run it for another 15 minutes, and then take the water one there and flush it out, or the sprayer on the hose. Basically what I'll do is I'll just sit the edge of the keg right here on the middle of this sink divider, and then take the hose, hold it in there like that, and then just spray straight up in there and then let it flush out. So that gets the last little bit of PBW out of there. And then once I've got everything cleaned, with PBW that I need to clean, then I will either, if it's not nasty, I'll keep it. If it's probably going to throw this one away. Anything that's got to be cleaned, I'll clean it, and then I will, basically once everything's clean with the PBW and flushed out, let it sit and drain for a little while, flush everything out with hot water, then I'll put a gallon of Star Sand mix in there and flush it out for like 2 minutes. And I will warn you, if you do it with Star Sand, it foams up like crazy, so just be prepared for that. There's another sanitizer that 5 Star makes, I think, that doesn't foam up, but I don't have that, so I'm using what I got. I don't care, I'll just wipe up the foam and go on. You're only running it for 2 minutes, so it's just going, if you have much to sanitize, the longer you run it, the more it foams, but it's not a big deal. You can just wipe it up. Then one other little tip that I like to share with you is basically when you're fooling with your kegs, put a brown paper bag down on your floor, and then that will, you can see the ring there where it was wet. That will keep any condensation that's on the bottom of your keg from getting on your floor. And then where these corny kegs have these black collars on them, if you twist them while they're sitting on the floor, they'll do like the black soled shoes will, and they'll leave you a nice black streak on your floor. And it's real joy. It's just one more thing to have to clean up on your cleaning day that you don't need to. But that's pretty much about it as far as the keg washer goes. It's a great tool. It's about $100. It'd be just pretty easy to make one yourself. There's some how-to videos on YouTube. You can guys just plug in how to make a keg washer. The most expensive part of it is your pump, and then it's a little bit of a. Most of those use a 5-gallon or 7-gallon bucket with that pump sitting down in it. And then they have to cut out the lid, and that acts as your collar to hold your keg or your carboy in place. Those look like they work great. The only problem I see with them is with the this one has a smaller reservoir, and you use less cleaner while you're using it. And then that little collar is made specifically for holding kegs and carboys. And then the reservoir's got like little. You can see it's got these lips that stick up like here, here, and here, and then another one back there in the back, so you can set your buckets on that. So basically there's no dicking around. The only thing you really have to change is when you're doing your glass carboys, it's got this little collar that goes on the top to kind of hold the glass in place. I like this. That's why I just went ahead and made it. I usually I usually make stuff. I'm pretty good, pretty handy about doing stuff like that, and don't have much problem doing it. I made my keezer, but on this it was almost more trouble than it was worth. I mean, if you've got a pump, a submersible utility pump already, then I'd suggest just making you one. But if you don't, then it costs about as much to make the damn thing as it does to build it, and then you don't have to, cut out the lid and all that shit. It's just basically you take it out of the box, hook it together, and then use it. It's plug and play, and it uses less. It uses 1 gallon versus those other ones. You're probably going to wind up having to put 2 or 3 gallons of cleaner or sanitizer or whatever. So you're tripling your material use. So in the long run, I mean, that stuff don't cost that much, and it's going to take you a long time to see the difference in just buying one straight out. But it does add up over time, and most people that get into homebrewing really like it and stay in it for a long time. And I mean, so I'd suggest just buying one unless you got a pump already. But I'm gonna clean this out. Got about another 10 minutes on here, and then once we get this cleaned out and rinsed out and flushed out, we will transfer the stout over into the already clean keg, and then I will be able to stick that carboy on this, go ahead and run it for 15 minutes, flush it out, and then everything can get hit with the Star Sand, and I'll be done for the day. And it'll probably wind up taking me a little over an hour to do all this. And that's not rushing through it. That's just drinking a beer and goofing off online and letting this thing run and just chilling. So that's kind of what I like. I like easy and effective. So That's what I'm going to do, have easy and effective today. So, we'll sit here and enjoy this pale ale. Look at the lacing. Nice clear. Beautiful. Cheers. I'll be back when I get ready to transfer the stout. Let you guys check that out. Alright, we'll see how good this cardboard washer is. This is the the yeast and junk in the bottom. And then I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to rinse it out with the hot water first before I put it on there. And then let it run for 15 minutes. And we'll see what this looks like when it gets done after 15 minutes. Basically 15 minutes is a good start. On something like this it may have to run for 30. We'll see. But this will be a good test to see how effective this thing is at cleaning. Because that's a damn mess right there. Alright, here's what it looks like. Actually, most of that junk rinsed out with hot water, so I was pretty happy about that. Looks like probably 15 minutes is going to get it. But this is what the keg washer looks like running. So we'll set the timer on 15 minutes. And you can see the water is looking kind of gnarly now. I've got a bunch of other stuff in here sucking. That's the nice thing about this one. It's got a little reservoir. It's got the keg lid, a bunch of bubblers, stuff off the carboy caps. And so we'll let this run for a little while, 15 minutes, and then we'll be back and see how it looks. Alright, looks like 15 minutes is probably not going to quite do it. Got real close, but I still got some junk right in the ridges here where the sediment had set up. And my water is not hot anymore, so that's probably affecting it a little bit too. But it's got it pretty clean. So I'm going to let this run for another 15 minutes and then check it again. And worst case scenario, I'll just have to take the carboy brush and hit it for a few minutes with that and then flush it out. Not the end of the world. I probably would have done a lot better job if the water had been warm. But this is toward the end of my cleaning day. So we'll hit it for another 15 minutes and see how it does. Okay, I actually run it for another 15 minutes and it still didn't come completely clean. Right around the edges here. I read on the directions it said in a lot of other posts about this thing. Basically, when you get something that's really, really dirty, a lot of times you have to let it run for almost an hour to get it to come clean. Or just basically hit it with the brush a little bit. So I just got my carboy brush out and run around the inside of it a little bit in these crevices and got that junk out because that oil is hard to get out of there. So basically I've cleaned it with carboy brush and now I'm going to let it run for about another 15 minutes and then it's pretty much already clean. I'm just going to flush it out a little bit and that'll be the last thing I'll clean. Then I'm going to transfer this PBW over into my mash tun and give it a real good cleaning because I just kind of rinsed it out when I got done with my last brew day and I want to give that thing a good scrubbing so it'll be spick and span next time I go to use it. Alright, you can see after running the brush around the inside of it a little bit and then running it for a few more minutes, about 15 minutes, it is sparkling clean. It was already clean except for the ridges and now they're clean too, so we're done. Now you can see the goodness of the stout going in the keg. And it is a nice dark brown. And then you can see I left it in the secondary for quite a few weeks and it fermented on down, got quite a bit of yeast stuck to the side. I use real chocolate in this, so you are going to get some oils in there if you do it like that. A lot of them wind up sticking to the side of the carboy when you transfer. And to be honest with you, I've never really had that much problem with head retention on the stout. Using real chocolate in it. We'll see how this one goes. Be honest with you, this is the first one I've kegged. I've always bottle conditioned my stouts. This is the first one I'm going to keg up. And we are over here. Let's get this baby turned around. And looks like we went down to about 10. Come on around. we go. So it looks like we're on about 10:09 right here, but it's about 70 degrees in here right now. So I add about 1/10 of a point to that, so we're right at 10:10. This is not supposed to be a real high gravity beer. It's only going to be around about 5%. It's a session stout. So you get a good look at the color here. Nice dark brown. That's right up against the light. So this is not a super dark beer. It's just a nice session stout. So we got down to 10:10. I can't remember what the OG was, so I'll get back to you on that one. And I'll post the numbers or do another quick addition to the end of the video here once I go back in there and look at my notes and see what the gravity is once it's finished up here. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up. I'm going to go ahead and I will show you what it looks like cleaning this carboy, because it's a lot more fun to watch the keg washer wash the carboy than it is the keg, because you can't see nothing with the keg. With the carboy you can see what it's actually doing. So I'll put that in back with the rest of the keg washing stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next week, and happy Homebrew Wednesday. Cheers.